Hello everyone, Simon Bart here, and welcome to another movie review. During the 1980s, when fantasy movies were everywhere, Rankin Bass also made fantasy movies as well. But all of them were based on a book and, like most fantasies of that time, for me anyway, were boring and didn't have much to offer. However, they did make one fantasy movie that is quite decent. It is the made-for-television movie known as The Flight of Dragons. The movie is based on the book of the same name by Peter Dickinson, along with the novel The Dragon and the George by Gordon R. Dickson. Okay, I'm going to try to sum up the story as best as I can because there are some things in it worth mentioning. With magic beginning to fade away with the threat and rise of science, a wizard named Carolinus calls on his three brothers, Lotezao, Solaris, and Omadon, to help in creating the magical realm, where all things magical could retire while science continues to rise. But Omadon refuses to retire and decides to use his dark magic to make science turn against humanity. So the other brothers make a quest to defeat Omadon by taking his crown, which is the source of his power, and Carolinus enlists a knight named Sir Orin Nevillesmite, his dragon Gorbash, and the book's author Peter Dickinson to lead the quest. But Carolinus accidentally casts a spell on Peter, merging him with Gorbash, but the quest still remains with another dragon named Smeargle to join in, and along the way they come across allies and obstacles as they journey to Omadon's castle. Now, of course you may be wondering, why pick Peter Dickinson? Well, Carolinus needs a man of science, and Peter's not only that, he's also the latest generation of a great magician also named Peter. But he was chosen before he finished his book, which does lead to a good scene where Carolinus shows him a collection of unfinished books. But even with that scene, there are other moments that are interesting. Like showing how dragons, in this world anyway, can fly and breathe fire. It does show a good mix of how magic and science can work. And some of the scary moments are quite fine. The ogre with 3 eyes, the sand mercs that have Orin and Peter scream in agony, and the ending, which, yeah, I'll get to it soon enough. But the one thing that I really like the most is the song in the opening credits. Performed by Don McLean, singer of songs like American Pie and Vincent, the movie's only song is the title song, The Flight of Dragons. And it is done really gorgeously and shows, of course, dragons flying and resting. But, as you would expect out of songs like these, the lyrics aren't the best memorable. I mean, the song is one of the best things in the movie, but if one part doesn't work for me, then it's still good despite that. So you think I really like this film even though there are a couple of flaws in it? Not entirely. I mean, I do like it, but there are a few moments that could have been handled more. Like some of the deaths in this could have been more. There's one where Smeargle dies when confronting the ogre. That one could have been a little longer, and how on earth do you die by throwing out your back? Okay, I can give it that he's old and whatnot, but that's a pretty lame way to die. Even when the heroes go up against Omadon's dragon, Brearg, the way they die is also lame. Guinness gets knocked over by Brearg's tail, Eric and Danelli both get caught in his talons, and Orin gets burned while wearing armor. Even if you say Brearg is too powerful, he is defeated in the same way that Maleficent as a dragon is defeated. But at least they actually didn't die. And let's talk about the ending where Peter defeats Omadon. On the one hand, it's an interesting way to go, by quoting science facts to defeat the enemy. But at the same time, it's also a very pathetic way to die. Sure, it's brains against bronze and shows that science makes more sense than magic, but sometimes magic is more interesting than science. And by adding logic to something fantastic, it does take the fun out of not knowing how it's done. Or just have a fine balance of the two like what's done on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Also, Omadon says that if Peter denies magic, then all magic will be gone. Well, if that's the case, then how come there's still magic after Omadon's gone? I guess it's only dark magic that disappears, not all of it. Also add a kind of rushed climax in the real world, and that's about it. So the major problem I have with this movie is the ending. It could have been something more and shouldn't have been rushed. But everything else is fine as is. And the actors voicing the characters are pretty good. Victor Brano voices Aragog, James Gregory voices Smeargle and Brearg, James Earl Jones voices Omadon, Harry Morgan voices Carolinus, John Ritter voices Peter Dickinson, Don Messick voices Gallus of the Treetops and Lo Tezao, Bob McFadden voices Sir Orin Nevillesmite, and Nellie Bellflower voices Danelli. And also to mention Alexander Stoddart voicing Princess Malison, and an uncredited Cozy Costa voicing Gorbash. As a whole, this movie is kind of good. The characters are good, the story is really nice, and the animation is fine. Directors Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass made a surprisingly decent fantasy, and while it has some weak moments that could have been more, does offer an interesting take on science versus magic. When I saw it as a kid, I thought it was decent in the way it showed itself, and nowadays, it kind of holds up for me. But while certain moments could have gotten more attention, I still think it's good at best. So today, this movie will be given a rating of 3 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and tune in next Wednesday for a new video. I got the one straight from my closet of shame. This is my top 10 quote of being the last of her kind. But she ventures out to find where others like her are being kept, and along the way she gets captured and put in a traveling carnival, where a magician named Mendrick